Hello everybody, I'm Mayor Art Minor and welcome to a recap of our town halls on the November 4th bond elections. Before we get into that presentation though, I want to briefly talk about the bond propositions. Council approved an ordinance calling for the election. Now our job is done. Now it's up to staff to provide the information for you, the citizen, to make an informed decision come election day. As elected officials, we are limited by law on what we can say as far as whether or not we support the propositions. As a private citizen, we are not. We have 13,000 registered voters in the city of Watauga, and I would love to see more than the normal 500 to 800 decide on these propositions. So with that, I will turn the presentations over to our city manager, Sandra Gibson.
Greetings, I'm Sandra Gibson, the city manager here in Watauga. As the mayor stated, with this presentation, our goal is simple. It's to give you the information you need to make an informed decision on the upcoming bond election on November 4th. We have additional information on the city's website to include virtual tours of the police, animal shelter, and library facilities. And we also have frequently asked questions and those answers to those questions. So please take a look at our website for that additional information. A bond election is a way for residents like you to have a say in what projects you're willing to support that help shape the future of our city. When you vote on a bond proposition, you're deciding whether the city should be allowed to borrow money, and that is structured similarly to a mortgage to fund major public projects such as these facilities. These funds are paid back over time through property taxes. Now let's talk about what's on the ballot. We have two propositions. Proposition A is to authorize $49 million in bond financing for the design and construction of a new police facility and animal shelter. The ballot language allows for the possibility of two separate buildings if an additional desirable location is identified, but the total cost must stay within that $49 million bond package limit. Proposition B is to authorize $32 million in bond financing for the design and construction of a new public library. Both of the propositions also include the cost of demolishing the existing buildings and temporarily relocating staff and services while construction is underway. And both also include a property tax levy to repay the bonds, but they are structured over 30 years to help reduce the financial impact on residents. So concerns about our current facilities have been raised for years. Back in 2019, the city hired an independent architectural firm to assess our buildings and do a needs assessment, and that was to properly identify what our community and departments truly needed. The findings revealed some serious limitations, most significantly with space and usable space within our facilities, and those results were shared with the City Council. The city planned to revisit the issue in 2020, but the pandemic delayed progress. Earlier this year, we updated the review and presented to Council in July. On August 11th, the City Council voted to move forward with the bond election to put this to the voters. One major reason we're bringing this to the voters now is cost. Construction prices have risen dramatically over the last few years by nearly 90% from 2019 to 2025 due to inflation. Waiting longer could mean paying even more for the same projects.
Hello, my name is Jim Lewis and I am your Watauga Police Department Chief of Police. I'm going to be discussing Proposition A with you, specifically the building of a new police facility and animal shelter. The purpose of Proposition A is to create a modern police facility with expanded training spaces and updated infrastructure that meets modern policing requirements. For the animal shelter, the goal is to increase current square footage in order to expand workspace, adoption space, animal play space, and to relocate the animal shelter to a location that better serves the Watauga community. Three main challenges exist with our current location. It is expensive to maintain, it has not kept up with the population growth of the city of Watauga, and its design does not support modern policing practices. Let's talk about those three things. We're going to start with the infrastructure challenges and resulting maintenance costs our existing building currently faces. Our current police headquarters was built in 1979. I understand the challenges that go along with anything built over 45 years ago. I am a 1973 model and I have plenty of maintenance challenges myself. For our building, these challenges include electrical and HVAC systems in desperate need of renovation, a fire suppression system that requires updating, and one of the most critical issues, water intrusion, which results from the building having been constructed on top of one of our natural springs. This has resulted in the original facility's design being unable to manage the amount of water vapor incursion into the building, resulting in mold and mildew, and its impact on sensitive electronics and equipment inside the building. A new structure would be designed with a deep crawl space to allow proper ventilation, as well as water mitigation systems designed to redirect water at the source before it reaches the structure. The images you see here depict damage to the insulation underneath the structure, as well as the hatch cover, which is inside of our armory where firearms and ammunition are stored. For those of you that don't already know, guns and ammunition and water do not play well together. That opening is the sole access to the crawl space. Mold and mildew can be seen surrounding the hatch cover in this image. Second, the existing police facility was built for a different population and a different purpose. As I mentioned earlier, the building was constructed in 1979 and renovated in 2008. The existing facility included a police and fire communications center, a city jail, and parking for fire trucks. None of these items are a part of our modern operations. Although originally built as two separate buildings, the 2008 renovation joined a building that once contained police headquarters, a courtroom, and city hall to the fire station. As a result of operational changes, the fire station, jail, and communications center are no longer used. This has left enormous space that has been repurposed but remains a significant waste of square footage. Finally, in the years since the existing facility was renovated, policing strategies have changed dramatically. The last 15 years have seen an incredible need for robust information technology infrastructure and electrical systems. Offense and arrest reporting requires significant space for workstations. Body-worn cameras, traffic enforcement equipment, even officers' personal equipment such as flashlights and radios require significantly more electrical support. Additionally, with increased requirements for property and evidence management as well as staffing increases, the Watauga Police Department has outgrown its current space. Also, security threats both locally and nationwide have evolved to require modifications to building design in order to protect our officers and professional staff from significant threats to their safety. The Watauga Police Department is committed to engaging with our community. This requires meeting spaces conducive to creating partnerships with our residents, interview rooms that contain state-mandated audio and video recording equipment, and spaces for interviewing victims, some of whom were victims of violent crimes, that are private, comfortable, and communicate safety and compassion. Currently, our only victim interview space is completely open to the public lobby and offers no privacy whatsoever. As the city of Watauga has grown, so has our police department. In addition to being out of workspace for staff, we have also exceeded space available for weapon and ammunition storage, evidence storage, records management, and even lockers for staff. That's going to make for some very awkward walks between the showers and my office. Although we work very hard to be excellent stewards of the resources the city provides, the population of Watauga and the police department have simply outgrown the current police building. Next, let's discuss our current animal shelter. Three major challenges currently face this facility. Specifically, limited shelter space to care for animals, lack of work and storage space for staff to provide the exercise and medical care the animals deserve, and the current location of the shelter honestly does a better job of supporting the city of Fort Worth than it does the city of Watauga. Simply put, the Watauga Animal Services Center is too small. There is inadequate space for providing medical care, the play area is undersized and creates hygiene issues, and the shelter space itself limits room for animals in kennels. As you can imagine, shelters require deep cleaning multiple times a day in order to properly care for animals. Our staff overcome these difficulties, but the tight confines and limited workspace available make this process very challenging. A new animal services facility will include significantly more space for animal care, storage, for equipment and food, and increased work areas for staff to do their job. Additionally, adoption spaces, including play space for families interested in adopting an animal, will be significantly increased. The current facility has minimal options for a family to get to know a dog or cat out of the sight and impact of other animals. Adoption play space is critical for helping interested families find their forever friend. Although our staff goes above and beyond to ensure every animal gets the best care, the tight working environment, including a single bathroom and locker room for both staff and patrons, as well as staff only having access to a single fridge that, by the way, is also used for evidence storage, underscores the need for additional space. A larger, more strategically designed animal services facility would facilitate greater opportunity for caring for some of Watauga's most vulnerable population. Thank you for this opportunity to visit with you about Proposition A, the bond proposal for a new police and animal services facility.
Hi, my name is Lonnie Ewell. I am the Watauga Public Library Director. The first slide here shows you the design of what a new library might look like from the street. This image is a back view of the building, which shows a drive-through which we would be very happy to have in a new building. We have a lot of people request this, and it comes up frequently when we do our library surveys. It would be a great help to people who have a lot of kiddos and really just want to pick up some material quickly, and they don't have to unload everybody, and also for people with mobility problems. If the bond were to pass, it would double the size of the building, increase seating, provide more study rooms throughout the building, which are very popular with our folks, provide a large multi-purpose room for meetings and programs. This is very important, separate the adult and youth areas to reduce noise issues for the adults. We get a lot of complaints at times, especially in the summer or whenever there's a big program going on for the youth. It would provide space also for adult and youth areas to have a larger collection. It would give more space for programmed activities, and it would provide more efficient staff areas and storage areas. This is our current building. It opened in 1990. The original building opened in 1983 and was an area of 676 square feet in the old City Hall. Our operational issues, which kind of relate to what I mentioned before, is a lack of space for adult and youth programming and classes, activities, not enough space for adult and youth book collections, not enough storage and office space, and we have ongoing problems with plumbing, heating, air conditioning, roof leaks, and inadequate power related to computer essentially connections. There's been a lot of change since 1990 when this building was put together. Our library is a popular destination. You can see that from this slide that shows how these numbers about how high we rate among our peer cities. A lot of our presenters and performers tell us that they love to come here because they know they'll get an enthusiastic and also a pretty good-sized crowd. Here you see the crowding that occurs during youth programs in these slides, in these pictures on this slide. The next slide illustrates the lack of space in the adult classes. Also, we have to, because our meeting room is not very large, my staff has to kind of recreate meeting spaces out on the floor, which is not the best way to do things. They're like kamikaze librarians setting up these things. And the next slide illustrates the lack of storage space throughout the building and also in the offices.
Taking a look at the bond election timeline and estimated tax rate impact, if voters approve either or both of the propositions, the debt would not be issued immediately. Design works takes about a year, so that amount would be borrowed first, and then the amount for the construction bonds would be borrowed later. That timeline for design would likely be in 2026, and the construction would begin in the spring of 2027. The projected tax rate impact for Proposition A on a $100,000 home is approximately $135 a year. On Proposition B, the projected tax impact on a $100,000 home is $90 a year. Of course, if you have an over 65 exemption, you will not see a property tax increase due to this bond election, since your property taxes are frozen at the dollar amount that a property owner qualifies for an over 65 or disabled property tax exemption. So we are here to answer your questions, provide clarity, and make sure that you have the facts. If you have any other questions, please email bondelection2025@wataugatx.org. Thank you for being part of this process.